Hi, I'm Eleanor, and welcome to this week's episode of the Intuition Lab. What happens when you've been betrayed? This week, I'm talking about love and other sentiments gone wrong and offering 5 steps to use your intuition to help you recover from betrayal and its aftermath. So, you've been betrayed. Now, what do you do? How can you use your intuition to rebuild your faith in yourself and in others, bolster your well being, and decide how to manage the relationship with the betrayer or betrayers going forward and just figure out what to do next in life? So maybe you've listened to your gut, done some investigating, and discovered that a friend or loved one, maybe even an associate or an employer, has played you false. Maybe you've been blindsided, especially in a relationship, and you're now picking through the debris to pull together an accurate picture of what was going on while you just blithely continued on with what you thought was a very happy life. Or perhaps you're just standing there, shocked, numb, alone, not sure who to trust, least of all yourself, because you feel like you should have seen it coming. So here's the first thing to do: acknowledge the hurt and face what has happened. Feelings of utter disbelief, numbness, even a desire to please or placate the betrayer, sort of like emotional Stockholm syndrome, may arrive before your anger. It happened. Don't blame yourself. They knew what they were doing. Don't try to explain away their actions. And how can you use your intuition to do this? Well, ask your higher self to help you see reality clearly. You can always, as hard as it is, just ask. And I would also mention that if you are feeling really anxious, to watch my earlier episode on how to discern between anxiety, fear, and your intuition. Ask your higher self to help you see reality clearly, to get an accurate picture of what's going on, and to help you come to terms with the yes, they betrayed you. Because sometimes if you've been betrayed, if you, once you get to sleep, hopefully, you wake up and you feel like everything's normal, everything's what you thought it would be. But it isn't. And self deception, not wanting to believe it's true, can sneak in. So ask your intuition for help with acknowledging the hurt and facing what has happened. If you have to write it down or speak it into a recording, and if it really hurts you or traumatizes you, you don't have to capture it this way, but it can help you as a touchstone remember what has been done. Second, seek emotional and physical safety, physical and energetic distance. If you cannot get away, see yourself shielded in a beautiful, I view it for me as an iridescent bubble where you are safe in your own energy and it reflects all of the drama and nonsense that comes with betrayal. The point of this is so that you can reorient yourself, be more grounded. Definitely listen to my episode about grounding, shielding, and shedding because you're going to need to do a lot of that. Think of betrayal as sort of like a full on assault on your person because that's truly what it is. Can you physically get away? If you can't, try and create space in any way you can, like noise canceling headphones if you live in a studio with them or you have to go into a workplace. You don't want to shrink yourself, you want to shield yourself. That's what I really want to stress. Shielding, not shrinking. Because sometimes you just feel so beaten down after what has happened that you just want to fold in on yourself. That I would invite you to create safety by maintaining your presence if you can, a shielded presence, granted. So definitely do that. You can ask yourself, ask your intuition, is there anything I can do? And it might sound weird. Maybe it's, have an extra cup of coffee or lay off the coffee. Caffeine can, I don't know, motivate you in a way, and staying away from it can make you less anxious. It's an example I've come up with, but it's something that's worked in my life. But you can always ask your intuition, how can I find safety in this moment or in this situation, and listen to what it has to say. And if it is outlandish and it's not within the realm of being completely illegal, I would say go ahead and do it. Again, I'm going to reiterate, you may need to guard against having sympathy for your betrayer too, especially if they've done something and they're either pretending to be hurt by it or they actually are hurt by it. Now is not the time for you to focus on anyone but yourself and anyone who is truly dependent on you. The time to look into why they behaved the way they did is not now, not in the immediate aftermath, and maybe even never. Sometimes it is merely enough, and you might realize this when you start thinking, why did they do this? And there's just more anxiety and you become more and more upset. That is your sign from your intuition to back up, to just back up and just say they did it. If they are fully functioning adults, they can take responsibility. If they were younger, I mean, most of us have the capability of understanding the consequences of our actions. And maybe the time to pick it apart is, like I said, never to just accept that they did it, they showed you who they were, and you get to figure out your life after this. Next step, triage. So you're hurting. You are probably bleeding energetically, hopefully not physically, and you need to stanch the wound and you need to stabilize yourself, start the healing process, even in the direct aftermath. So, again, the thing to do is to ask your intuition what is the most important thing for you to focus on right now? And hint, it's pretty much never revenge, right? It's often not ours to take. Karma 99.8% of the time catches up with people in this lifetime, and there's always the next, right? But it's pretty much never revenge. If you later are guided to take actions that might look like revenge, make sure they are coming from a guided, grounded place, not in the moment pettiness or anger, because that can backfire. But when you're in this triage state, your energetic five state that I've talked about previously and have an episode about may seem like a dream, but try to get as close to it as you can. I say it's like an energetic 4.5 to 5.5 on a scale of like 1 to 10. But if you're out there at 12, maybe getting to 8 is part of the victory. So that's where the grounding, the shielding, the shedding, the if you have a good energetic memory of what your energetic five state feels like. You can even ask to be shown in your mind's eye or in a more practical way, if that's how you best connect with your intuition, how far off you are from that and what small thing you can do right now to get back there. It's often putting physical space between you and that person, cleansing your energy if you can, like taking a shower or taking a salt bath, or if you're in a shower and you have like coarse sea salt or pink salt, to just sort of scrub your body with it to get some of that initial ick off of you, to build your boundaries. I would recommend avoiding addictive substances. If you need a drink to help you, then take a drink, not the whole bottle, or one small dose of an anti-anxiety medication, but don't go crazy on it. You want to try and get as close to that five state, or at least get back on the scale if you can. And leading into dealing with it with a substance, place limits on your coping. That can be everything from drinking, alcohol, drugs, shopping, um, coping strategies that can veer into being unhealthy, comfort eating, that's, mine. Put limits on it. Maybe you allow yourself 30 minutes to doom scroll or stare at videos online. Maybe you have 1 pint of ice cream. You're not, going out and buying cookies and a whole pizza too to stuff down your feelings. Believe me, I haven't done that exactly, but, one of my coping strategies used to be a bottle of sugary Coke and a bag of M&Ms because the sugar would temporarily make me feel better and then I would feel worse. The best way to do it is to limit the coping and to listen to your still small voice telling you when it's not helpful. Coping strategies help up to a point and then they become destructive. So, you know, if If you breathe in and breathe out before you start the coping behavior, you will know, unless it's automatically something that's physically harmful to you or emotionally harmful, place a limit around it. Like I said, maybe have half the bag of M&Ms or just one pint of ice cream and say, okay, that's my cope. Now I'm going to do something else. And, not only will you get clues from your intuition about feeling like this is not helpful, feeling like you need to slow your roll. And if you have any experience in CBT or DBT therapy, I encourage you to fall back on those teachings and do a quick Google or, web search of that if it's helpful for you to help you ground yourself in the now so that you're not knocking yourself further off your axis. You can also ask for guidance on what is the best thing, as I mentioned in the beginning of this step. What is the most important thing for you to focus on right now? And if that seems overwhelming, what is one small step you can take right now to deal with it? Now, on to step 4, dealing with them. How do you want this person or those parties to show up in your life? You can ask your intuition, what is the best way to handle this? You can't always walk away. And I know how popular that is these days. Cut them off, walk away. That's not always the right thing to do in the immediate aftermath, even if it is the right thing to do long term. If you are leaving a long term relationship and it is not immediately physically dangerous to you or immediately emotionally dangerous to you, it might cause you to self harm. You need time to prepare. It's like going on a journey. You need time to get yourself together. You, if you have the resources, I guess you could just quit a job, right? Or leave a volunteer situation or something like that. Those are both situations I dealt with where I felt personally betrayed. But just what is the best way to handle it and how can you prepare? And also, what role do you want in your life? If you have been betrayed by a friend or a partner or a loved one, you might think, well, I just want them to change. I want them to do this differently. But even if they go through the motions and do what you want, you cannot unknow what you've discovered, right? So, do you want that person as they are now, not the image of the person you thought they were, or maybe the person they were in the past and they've changed in a way that is no longer compatible with you? How do you want this person or parties to show up in your life? If it is something like a situation where you are co-parenting children or you have a business partnership you can't immediately get out of, how can you maintain energetic distance in dealing with them? And the key to that is knowing the essence of what you need from that relationship. If it is a job and you need the income, then you find a way, you ask your intuition how to deal with that situation while you find a new one. If it is a relationship you choose to stay in, then you ask yourself, what am I getting in this relationship that I need to be here for? And figure out how you can live with that person or those parties as they are while you are getting what you need. The end result of this is not you becoming a withered shell of yourself. It is you having the resources, financial, emotional, spiritual, physical, to live the life you want. I'll also add, as an aside, especially if it is betrayal in a personal relationship, you've built a whole life with an image of this person that they either never lived up to, because even those of us who are very intuitive can still have blind spots when it comes to people we really care about. And it's just knowing, like, can I live a life that I am happy with, that nurtures me alongside this person? And if the answer is yes, then you find a way to make that happen. If the answer is no, you ask yourself, do I need to get away in the short term? No. In the long term, yes. Then you begin to make your plans accordingly once you have dealt with the initial shockwave of trauma. Now, the final step is your new reality and how you show up in it. This is the time for expansive thinking and intuitive visioning. If your whole world has come crumbling down around you, it hurts, but you have a chance to either leave it behind or rebuild on site and build it in a way that actually works for you. So right now your thoughts are probably very clouded, very chaotic, very informed by fear, anxiety, anger, the strong emotions that get in the way of hearing your true self. But it can be helpful to do a visualization meditation. And there's one I've done in the past where you like imagine yourself in a movie theater playing the movie of your life, looking at different screens or sitting in front of several monitors with different versions of your life playing out. And which one do you want? I use it as decision making, but if you're interested in me recording this meditation and posting it, please let me know in the comments. But if you can get quiet or just ask yourself rapid fire, what do I want my life to look like? It's a good starting point. And you may start out with, well, I want like the relationship I thought I had. And it's like, you know what? Maybe that is your life, but it's not with that person, or it's not with that job, or it's not with whatever situation has let you down. If you thought you had the essence of what you wanted, then maybe you need a new cast of characters to make that happen, right? You may want that person or that thing that let you down, but it's no longer on immediate offer. I mean, maybe if you break up with someone, maybe you're meant to go back to them, maybe you're not. But the only way that's going to happen is if both of you undergo fundamental changes. I also encourage you to not get bogged down in thinking it's always going to suck. My life is over. Well, this part of your life is over, but new one is still being created. And just where do you want to be a year from now? Or if you can't really do it in terms of a time frame, I'm not always the best at that. Where can I go from here? What is the best outcome I can get from this? You know, this is your new reality. Knowing who someone is or what a situation is a gift because you're no longer laboring under false assumptions. Note your results and just keep iterating on that. Where can I go from here? What is my next best step? um, if you feel like you've completely blown your relationship with your intuition over this, then I encourage you to start collecting little data to validate your hits. This is a great time to reinforce your relationship with your intuition and your higher self. And again, I have an episode about a data-driven approach to intuition. If you feel like you were blindsided and you didn't see it coming, they're always small signs. They're always signs, even if we don't want to see them, and can be helpful to just start logging your own intuition again so that you can build trust in it and build trust in where you're going. So those are the 5 basic steps. But if you're ready, if you've done that and you're feeling a bit better, you've gained some physical and or energetic distance, a couple of topics for further exploration or just self-healing. Don't shut yourself off from love, trust, or deep, meaningful relationships or connections. If you become bitter, like they're all like that, then they win. This is an opportunity for you to gain wisdom, become more discerning, and look at where you deceive yourself. And believe me, it's painful. I do this. I still do this over past hurts and betrayals. Where did I deceive myself? I can't believe I did that. I'm supposed to be intuitive, right? But we all deceive ourselves, especially when it comes to things that our ego really, 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 really wants for us. Also, don't spend a lot of effort looking at their motivations and they being the party or parties who betrayed you. Explore this only when you have gained enough distance that thinking about what happened doesn't immediately cause a spiral. Explore this only as a way to learn a lesson. Don't harp on it. It will destroy you. Trust me. What is there for you to really learn from this and not like, I'll never trust anyone again. That is to deny being human, right? But if you are dealing with the aftermath of betrayal right now, take heart. You will become stronger. And speaking as someone who has dealt with painful betrayal from loved ones, from family members, from people I thought were my friends, from work situations where I thought I was really valued. It devastated me at the time, and I coped in unhealthy ways that have effects on my physical health now that I am working to unlearn, unravel, and heal from. But know that you will become stronger. You can have a closer relationship with your intuition and build real resilience, right? It's one thing to have all of these tools, but if you never have a chance to put them to the test, then you'll never know what you're capable of. You'll never know if these strategies help or hurt, and then you can rebuild your toolkit. So take heart. But if you are stuck in a betrayal loop and you would like gentle guidance on where to go next, consider a one-on-one session with me, from one targeted question via text to multiple questions via text to a 1 hour insight and clarity session. I can help you let go of that leaden feeling and just move forwards. Links to that are in the show notes. And as ever, I so appreciate your listening. I'm sending you so much love. If this has helped, please like, share, and subscribe so that other people who need help, kind, loving help on dealing with betrayal and using their intuition to help them do that, I would really appreciate it. And your sharing helps this message get to people who really need to hear it right now. So, sending you so much love, strength, and resilience. And I will talk to you soon. Bye now.